Welcome to SerialTek. In this brief video, we'll walk through making static IP address modifications to your PC. Here's a list of terms used in this presentation. To review, please pause here. As we begin, we have our set of standard disclaimers. Our software is not designed to stop or warn the user of networking issues, and so the user will need to have some expertise in dealing with IP or networking issues. Standard Ethernet cables only are used with BusExpert equipment. Any wireless must be disabled, not just not used, but actually disabled in the network and sharing center. Any changes that are required to connect to the analyzer should be done on the PC or network side first. And lastly, the analyzer's netmask is hard-coded to a value of 255.0.0.0. This does have implications for what networks are required to support BusExpert and BusMod products. And any questions there should be referred to the end user's IT department or to SerialTek support. At a glance, the steps to modify the IP address are as follows. First, we need to open the Network and Sharing Center, go to Change Adapter Settings, select Ethernet. This is the hardwired Ethernet. Select TCP/IP version 4, select Modify Settings, make your changes, and then please remember to close out to apply those changes so that they take effect. So as was just stated, the first step is to open the Network and Sharing Center. There are two different ways to do this that are listed here. There are other ways if you're in the Windows GUI. Again, select Change Adapter Settings, located at the top left. Select Ethernet. Select Internet Protocol version 4. And finally, you're able to modify your settings. Now, for static IP addresses, it's important to input an IP address that is compatible with the analyzer. For that to work, the two static IP addresses, the analyzer IP static address and the PC static IP address, must be on the same network but must not be identical. If both the analyzer and the PC are set to the exact same IP address, you'll get a network conflict error, and that will be given to you by the Windows operating system. In general, when a static IP address is used, this is when there's a single Ethernet cable going directly from the user's PC running the BusExpert software directly to the analyzer. A full explanation of IP addressing and net masks and Ethernet networking is beyond the scope of this presentation, but a brief explanation may serve to help the user to avoid some of the most common errors. The IP address is a fixed size and is actually the concatenation of two things: a network ID, and then directly following the network ID, the address of a particular node within that network. Because it's a fixed size, there needs to be something to determine the end of the network ID and the beginning of the addresses within that network, and that thing is known as the net mask. As a net mask gets bigger, the number of digits that are dedicated to the network ID increases. This means that there can be a larger total number of distinct different networks. But within each network, now we have fewer digits left to dedicate to addresses within that network. And that means that there can be fewer total nodes within that network. Conversely, if the net mask is small, that means that there are fewer digits dedicated to the network ID and a larger number of digits dedicated to addresses within those networks. That means that when the net mask is smaller, that there can be many different nodes or objects within a given network, but fewer networks total. As we've stated before, the netmask is hard-coded to a value of 255.0.0.0. For Bus Expert or for SerialTek products, we expect a small number of networks, but a large number of nodes within each network. So for this example, our IP address is 10.0.0.2. Because the netmask is 255.0.0.0, that means that our network ID is 10, and the address of the analyzer within that network is 0.0.2. So having explained all of this, we'll go ahead and switch to my live setup, and we'll go ahead and make corrections to make sure that the analyzer is usable from this PC. So we see here in Bus Expert Capture Control that there is one analyzer that's shown up on the Ethernet network. We see that there is a white X on red. That means that the analyzer cannot be selected for use. This is also confirmed by the OK button that's been grayed out and cannot be selected. So knowing we have an error, we go to the information icon and click on it to get information on the reason for the error. And we can see that there's a communication error. We're told to check the network settings. We see that under connection, we are using our Ethernet connection, that the IP address is 10.0.0.2, and that the IP address is static. That is, it's been assigned by the user to the analyzer before the analyzer was powered on. So the first thing that we want users to consider when seeing this sequence of events is that the IP address for the user's PC, which is running the Bus Expert software, is an incompatible static IP address or is using DHCP. And so the first thing we want users to do is to check the PC's IP address. And so as we stated before, I can use the Windows key and hit the pause button, which brings us to the control panel. I can click the control panel, make sure that I'm on either small icons or large icons, and then go into the Network and Sharing Center, change adapter settings, and select Ethernet, Properties, and TCP/IP version 4. So now we can see that the PC is currently set to obtain an IP address automatically. This means that the PC has received an IP address from the DHCP server. We can assume, because we have this networking issue, that the IP address given by the DHCP server is incompatible with the static IP address assigned to the analyzer. So then we switch to use the following IP address, and then we know from looking at the IP address of the analyzer, which was 10.0.0.2, we know that the first octet, the 10, is the network ID. And so because 10 is the network ID, we have to match 10 in that first octet of the IP address. For the other octets, we can use zeros, but now for this next one, we cannot use the number 2 because 2 would identify or assign the exact same address to the PC as the analyzer currently has. But any other number would suffice. So as I tab out of the IP address, we see that the subnet mask has auto-filled with a net mask of 255.0.0.0, which is identical to the net mask that's being used by the analyzer. And therefore, we can click OK. Click OK under Ethernet Properties to apply these changes to the Ethernet network. Go ahead and close out of these other windows. And then again, given approximately 1 minute, the Bus Expert will refresh, and this icon will turn from red to green. But to expedite that process, we'll go ahead and close software and reopen just to force a refresh. So now we see that the analyzer has appeared again. We note that the information icon is green. When we click, we see that the IP address is 10.0.0.2 is still static. Nothing on the analyzer side has changed. Now that we've changed the Ethernet address on the PC, now the analyzer is usable again. And so we can prove that by clicking OK. And we see that the analyzer has been selected and can now be used to start capture, etc. This concludes this presentation. For further assistance, please contact SerialTek support. Thank you.